The ping from my phone came and I almost ignored it. Almost. But something, call it instinct, call it fate, made me reach for the device on my nightstand while my wife Emily slept soundly beside me. The notification was from our joint credit card. A charge of $487 at the Riverside Inn, a boutique hotel 40 minutes outside Portland. I stared at the screen, my brain struggling to process what I was seeing. Emily was right here, breathing softly into her pillow, her blonde hair spread across the Egyptian cotton sheets we'd bought together last spring. I refreshed the banking app. The charge remained. Posted 20 minutes ago. Location: Riverside Inn, room 312. My heart hammered against my ribs as I quietly slid out of bed. In our home office, I pulled up our credit card statement with shaking hands. There it was again. But as I scrolled backward through the previous weeks, a pattern emerged that made my stomach drop like a stone into dark water. Riverside Inn. Every Tuesday and Thursday for the past 2 months. Same amount, give or take $20. Same timestamps, always between 2 and 3 a.m. I checked my calendar. Every single charge corresponded with a night Emily had told me she was working late at the marketing firm where she'd been employed for 6 years. The firm where she'd recently been promoted to senior account manager, requiring additional evening meetings with clients on the West Coast. My wife of 9 years. The mother of our 7-year-old daughter Sophie. The woman who'd stood in front of 200 people and promised to forsake all others. I sat in the darkness of our office, surrounded by framed photos of our life together, our wedding day at Cannon Beach, Sophie's first birthday, last Christmas morning, and felt reality fracturing around me. The credit card was in both our names, but I was the primary account holder. I'd added Emily years ago, back when we were newlyweds and everything was joint, shared, ours. She must have forgotten that I received real-time notifications for charges over $200. One mistake. That's all it took. I pulled up our cell phone account next. We were on a family plan through my company's corporate discount. I'd never had a reason to check her usage before. Why would I? We trusted each other. Trusted. Past tense. The call logs painted a picture I didn't want to see. A number I didn't recognize appeared repeatedly, often for 30, 40, even 60 minutes at a time. Calls made during her lunch breaks or on her commute home. The most recent call had ended just 3 hours ago at 11:38 p.m. while we'd been watching a movie together on the couch. She'd excused herself to check on Sophie and apparently made a 15-minute call from our daughter's bedroom. I cross-referenced the dates. The calls had started 4 months ago, mid-January, right after the firm's holiday party, which I'd skipped because Sophie had the flu. My hands moved mechanically, driven by a need to know that overrode the part of me screaming to stop, to go back to bed, to unsee everything. I opened our shared photo cloud. Emily's automatic backup was enabled. Another thing we'd set up years ago in the name of transparency and convenience. The photos weren't explicit, thank God, but they were damning. Emily at restaurants I'd never been to, wearing dresses I'd never seen. Emily laughing in the passenger seat of an unfamiliar car, a silver BMW, reflection visible in the window. Emily's hand holding a champagne glass, a man's hand visible across the table, distinctive gold watch catching the light. I zoomed in on the watch. Rolex Submariner. Retail price around $15,000. I wasn't a wealthy man. I was a project manager at a construction firm, pulling in a respectable $85,000 a year. We lived comfortably in our 3-bedroom house in Beaverton, drove sensible cars, saved for Sophie's college fund. I'd never owned a Rolex. Never would. The photos were dated. The earliest was from late January. The most recent was from yesterday afternoon, time-stamped 2:14 p.m. Emily in a hotel bathroom mirror, makeup perfect, smile radiant. The smile I'd fallen in love with in college, now directed at someone else's camera. I checked the location data embedded in the photo. Riverside Inn. The same hotel being charged to our joint credit card. My wife was so confident in her deception that she was making me pay for her affair. The rage came then, hot and sharp, cutting through the numbness. But I forced it down, channeled it into something colder, more useful. I'd spent 15 years in construction management. I knew how to plan. I knew how to build something from the ground up, step by careful step. And I knew how to demolish what needed to come down. I grabbed a yellow legal pad from the desk drawer and started writing. Every charge, every call, every photo, dates, times, amounts. I created a spreadsheet, color-coded and cross-referenced. I downloaded the credit card statements going back 6 months. I took screenshots of everything, the call logs, the photos, the banking records. By the time the sun started bleeding light through the office blinds, I had a timeline. I had evidence. I had proof of adultery documented in ways that would hold up in Oregon's courts. And I had a plan. The sun started bleeding light through the office blinds. I'd been staring at the spreadsheet for hours, adding details, cross-referencing timestamps, building the architecture of Emily's lies into something concrete, something actionable. My phone buzzed. 6:47 a.m., Emily's alarm. I heard her stir in the bedroom, the rustle of those Egyptian cotton sheets we'd picked out together at Macy's. $300. I remembered the salesperson telling us they'd last 10 years with proper care. 9 years of marriage. We hadn't even made it to the sheet's expiration date. I closed the laptop, saved everything to 3 separate cloud accounts. Mine, a new one I'd created at 4:15 a.m., and a USB drive I'd dug out of my desk drawer. The kind of redundancy I'd use on a major construction project. No single point of failure. The shower started running. Tuesday morning. She'd be at work late tonight. Another $487 charge would hit the card around 11 p.m. if the pattern held. I stood, stretched, my back cracked. The rational move would be to confront her now. Show her the evidence. Demand answers. But I'd learned something about myself in the last 4 hours. I didn't want answers. I had answers. What I wanted was leverage. I walked to the bedroom, changed into my work clothes. Dark jeans, company polo. The shower was still running. I could see her silhouette through the frosted glass, washing her hair. She'd be in there another 10 minutes. Emily's routine was clockwork. Sophie's door was cracked open. I pushed it wider. She was sprawled across her bed, one leg hanging off the side, clutching the stuffed elephant my parents had given her for her 5th birthday. Her nightlight, shaped like a crescent moon, cast everything in soft blue. My chest tightened. Whatever happened next, Sophie was going to be caught in it. The shower shut off. I went downstairs, started the coffee maker, poured cereal into Sophie's favorite bowl, the one with the cartoon pandas. Set out her vitamins. Normal Tuesday morning, the kind I'd performed 1,000 times. Emily came down at 7:12, hair still damp, wearing her gray blazer and black slacks. Professional. Put together. She smiled when she saw the coffee. "You're up early," she said, pouring herself a cup. "Couldn't sleep?" "True enough." She added cream, 2 sugars. "Big project today?" "Just the Riverside development." I watched her face. Nothing. Not even a flicker. "We're behind schedule. Might need to work late to catch up." "That's funny," she said. "I've got a late meeting too, client dinner." "Right, your promotion." "It's been crazy." She sipped her coffee, checked her phone. "I should be home by 11. 11. The hotel charge would post around the same time. I wondered if she'd ever actually checked the credit card statements, or if she just assumed I never looked at them either. "I can pick up Sophie from aftercare," I said. "You're the best." She kissed my cheek. Her lips were cool. She smelled like the lavender shampoo she'd been using for years. I wanted to grab her shoulders, shake her, ask her how she could stand there and lie to my face with Sophie sleeping upstairs. Ask her when I'd stopped being enough. Instead, I said, "Have a good day." Sophie thundered down the stairs at 7:28, already talking about the field trip her class was taking to the Science Museum on Friday. Emily helped her with her backpack, reminded her about her spelling test. We stood in the doorway and waved as the school bus pulled away. A perfect family moment. Emily left at 7:45, kissing me goodbye again, promising to text me when her meeting was over. I waited until her Camry disappeared around the corner. Then I went back to my office. The phone number. I'd been staring at it all night. 47 calls since mid-January. The most recent one yesterday at 3:34 p.m., duration 12 minutes. I could call it. Confront him directly. But that wasn't the play. Not yet. I opened a browser, navigated to one of those reverse phone lookup sites, entered the number. The basic search came back with a name, Dylan K., Portland, OR. For $29.99, I could get the full report. I paid with my personal credit card, the one Emily didn't have access to. The report loaded. Dylan Keller, age 34, address in the Pearl District. One of those converted warehouse lofts that started at $500,000. Registered owner of a 2022 BMW 540i, silver. Executive at a tech startup called Vision Metrics. LinkedIn profile showed him in a suit, confident smile. The kind of guy who used words like synergy and disruption, unironically. Senior Vice President of Business Development. Salary probably north of 200 grand. I stared at his photo. He was handsome in that generic way. Sharp jawline, perfect teeth, expensive haircut. The kind of guy who wore a Rolex because he could, not because he cared about watches. My phone showed 8:47 a.m. I was supposed to be at the Riverside site by 9. Riverside. I pulled up the hotel's website. The Riverside Inn. Boutique hotel, 40 minutes outside Portland. 16 rooms, farm-to-table restaurant, romantic getaway packages. Room 312. The charge description always specified the room number. I clicked through to their booking page. Available rooms for tonight. I scrolled down. Room 312, King Suite. $487 per night. Currently available. My finger hovered over the Book Now button. No, not yet. I called my site supervisor instead. Travis. Yeah, I'm going to be late. Family thing. Can you handle the morning inspection? He could. Travis was solid. Then I called Emily's office. Marketing firm called Bright Path Solutions, downtown Portland. I'd been there for the Christmas party 2 years ago. Open floor plan, exposed brick, craft beer on tap in the break room. The receptionist answered on the second ring. Perky voice. Bright Path Solutions, how may I direct your call? Hi, I'm trying to reach Emily Dawson. One moment, please. Hold music, something jazzy and inoffensive. I'm sorry, Emily's in meetings all morning. Can I take a message? No problem. Do you know when she'll be available? Her calendar shows she's free after 2. Would you like her voicemail? That's okay. I'll try her cell. Thanks. I hung up. Meetings all morning. Maybe that was true. Maybe she really did have work today. But tonight was the pattern. Tuesday night. Room 312. I pulled up the spreadsheet again. Every Tuesday and Thursday for 8 weeks. 16 visits. $7,792 charged to our joint account. The account we used for groceries, for Sophie's school supplies, for the new water heater we'd had to replace in March. My phone buzzed. Text from Emily. Forgot to mention, might be later than 11 tonight. This client is demanding. Love you. I typed back, no problem. Good luck with the meeting. She sent a heart emoji. I sat there looking at that little red heart on my screen. Then I opened a new browser tab and searched for divorce attorneys in Portland. The first result was a firm called Pacific Northwest Family Law. 5-star reviews. Free consultation. I clicked the contact form. Filled in my name, number, brief description. Divorce, adultery, need aggressive representation. The confirmation page said someone would call within 24 hours. I closed the laptop. 9:14 a.m. I should go to work. Pretend everything was normal. Let Emily think she was still getting away with it. But I had a better idea. I grabbed my keys and headed for the door. The Riverside Inn was 40 minutes away. I could be there by 10, back by noon. No one at work would miss me for a few hours. I needed to see it. The place where my wife had been spending our money to sleep with Dylan Keller. The room where she'd smiled for those photos, looking happier than I'd seen her look at home in months. Room 312. The morning was overcast, typical Oregon spring. I drove with the radio off, just the sound of tires on pavement and my own breathing. 40 minutes to think about what I was doing. 40 minutes to turn back. I didn't turn back. The Riverside Inn sat 43 minutes outside Portland, tucked into a bend where the Willamette River curved through stands of Douglas fir. I pulled into the parking lot at 9:57 a.m., my Honda Civic looking out of place among the Audis and Teslas scattered across the pavement. Boutique hotel. That's what the website called it. 28 rooms, farm-to-table restaurant, spa services. Starting rate, $380 per night. I sat in my car for 3 minutes, engine off, watching the entrance. Couples came and went. Business travelers with rolling luggage. A woman in yoga pants carrying a mat. Normal people doing normal things. Room 312 would be on the 3rd floor. Corner room, probably. The charges always included premium accommodations. My phone buzzed. Text from the construction site. Issue with the HVAC subcontractor. I replied that I'd handle it after lunch, then silenced the phone completely. The lobby smelled like lavender and money. Reclaimed wood beams, Edison bulbs, a fireplace that probably cost more than my car. The woman behind the desk, nameplate read Jessica, smiled with professional warmth. Welcome to the Riverside Inn. Do you have a reservation? Actually, I'm hoping you can help me with something. I pulled out my phone, showed her a photo of Emily from our vacation last summer. Blonde hair catching sunlight, genuine smile. Before. My wife stayed here recently. I'm planning a surprise anniversary trip, wanted to request the same room she had. She raved about it. Jessica's smile didn't waver. That's so sweet. When did she stay with us? Last Thursday. I kept my voice light, conversational. And the Thursday before that. She's been here for work meetings, but she mentioned how nice the room was. Something flickered across Jessica's face. Brief, calculated. Let me check our system. Her fingers moved across the keyboard. I watched her eyes scan the screen, watched the precise moment she found the reservation. Watched her decide what to tell me. I see a reservation for Thursday the 9th, but I'm not able to share guest information without room 312, I said. Right? Her fingers stopped moving. I have the credit card statements, I continued. Same pleasant tone. Joint account. I'm just trying to make this anniversary special. Jessica's professional mask cracked slightly. She glanced toward the restaurant entrance, then back to me. Sir, I think you should speak with our manager. I don't need to speak with your manager. I set my credit card on the counter, the same one that had paid for 16 visits. I need to see room 312. We can't just... I'm not asking to stay there. I'm asking to see it. 5 minutes. You can come with me if you want. She looked at the credit card. At my face. At whatever calculation was happening behind her carefully neutral expression. Wait here. She disappeared through a door marked Staff Only. I stood at the counter, breathing carefully, forcing my hands to stay relaxed. A couple walked past me toward the elevator, laughing about something. The fireplace crackled. Somewhere, a phone rang. Jessica returned with a man in his 50s, gray hair, expensive suit. Manager written all over him. Mr. Thompson, I said. Not my real name, but it came out smooth. I'm Robert Walsh, general manager. Jessica mentioned you have some concerns about a room? No concerns. Just want to see it. Room 312. My credit card has been charged for it 16 times in the past 2 months. I pulled up my banking app, showed him the transactions. All posted. All paid. I'd like to see what I've been paying for. Walsh's jaw tightened. He looked at the phone screen, at Jessica, then back at me. Perhaps we should discuss this in my office. I don't need to discuss anything. I need to see the room. Sir, I understand this is difficult, but difficult? I kept my voice level. Quiet. The kind of quiet that made Walsh take a step back. I've paid you $7,790 for a room I've never seen. I'm asking nicely. Once? Walsh studied me for a long moment. Whatever he saw in my face made him nod slowly. Jessica, get a master key. The elevator ride took 34 seconds. Walsh didn't speak. Neither did I. Jessica had stayed at the desk, relief visible on her face. Third floor hallway, thick carpet, abstract art on the walls, that same lavender scent. Walsh led me to the corner, to a door with brass numbers. 312. He swiped the master key. The lock clicked. I'll wait out here, Walsh said. I pushed the door open. King bed, white linens. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the river. Sitting area with a leather couch. Minibar. Fireplace. Bathroom visible through an open door. Claw foot tub, separate shower. Empty, cleaned, ready for the next guests. But I could see it anyway. Emily's overnight bag on the luggage rack, her clothes on the floor, Dylan Keller's Rolex on the nightstand, 2 glasses of wine. Laughter. Her voice saying things she used to say to me. I walked to the window. The river moved below, dark water sliding past like it had somewhere to be. My phone buzzed in my pocket. I ignored it. The room smelled like industrial cleaning products, but underneath, maybe I imagined it, something floral. Emily's perfume. The one I'd bought her for Christmas. I opened the minibar. Fully stocked. Champagne, premium vodka, craft beer, chocolate truffles. I checked the prices listed on the inside door. The champagne alone cost $140. My phone buzzed again. Then again. I pulled it out. 3 texts from Emily. Morning. Crazy busy already. Forgot to mention, dinner meeting got moved to 6:30. Probably won't be home until midnight. Sorry, babe. I stared at the messages. At the bed behind me. At the river below. Midnight. Not 11 like she'd said earlier. The lies were getting looser, more careless. She thought she was safe. I took photos. Wide shots of the room. Close-ups of the minibar prices. The view from the window. The bathroom with its luxury fixtures. Everything my money had paid for. Then I opened my banking app and checked the transaction history again. The most recent charge, last Thursday, included an itemized receipt I hadn't noticed before. I'd been too focused on the room rate. Room, $380 champagne, $140 room service dinner for 2, $186 spa services, couples massage, $280, $986 total. Not the $487 that had posted to my account. I scrolled back through the previous transactions. They were all split exactly in half. Dylan Keller had been paying half. My hand tightened on the phone. The screen protector cracked slightly under my thumb. He'd been paying half. Like they were dating. Like this was some romantic getaway they were sharing equally. Like my wife was his girlfriend and this was normal, This was fair. This was something they'd agreed on together. The rage that hit me then wasn't hot. It was cold, precise, mathematical. I'd thought Emily was reckless using our joint card. But she wasn't reckless. She was entitled. She genuinely believed she deserved this. Believed she could take my money, split the cost with her lover, and I'd never notice or never care. Walsh knocked on the open door. "Sir, are you finished?" "Yeah." My voice sounded normal, steady. "I'm finished." I walked past him into the hallway, past the elevator, down the stairs, through the lobby where Jessica wouldn't meet my eyes, out to my car where the morning sun was burning off the fog. My phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. "This is Trevor Boyd, returning your call about a consultation." The divorce attorney. I'd left a message at 8:47 a.m. "Thanks for calling back." I started the engine, pulled out of the parking lot. "I need to move fast on something. How soon can we meet?" "I have an opening at 2 p.m. today." "I'll take it." "Can you give me a brief overview of the situation?" I watched the Riverside Inn disappear in my rearview mirror. My wife's having an affair. 4 months. I have documentation, bank records, phone logs, photos, hotel receipts. They've been splitting the cost of their hotel room. She's been using our joint credit card for her half. Boyd was quiet for a moment. Splitting the cost? Exactly in half. Every time. That's unusually brazen. That's Emily. Bring everything you have, every document, every photo, every receipt. Oregon is a no-fault divorce state, but this level of financial deception matters for asset division and spousal support. "I'll be there at 2 sus." I ended the call and drove toward downtown Portland, toward Dylan Keller's office building. I wasn't going to confront him, not yet, but I wanted to see where he worked, wanted to understand exactly who had been sleeping with my wife in a room I'd paid for. My phone buzzed. Another text from Emily. "Miss you." I didn't respond. The notification came through at 9:47 a.m. while I sat in my office at the construction site, pretending to review blueprints for the Hawthorne Street project. Referral bonus. $25. I stared at my phone. The hotel booking app I downloaded 2 months ago, the same one Emily had been using to book the Riverside Inn, had just credited my account. Someone had registered using my referral link. I hadn't given the link to anyone. My hands went cold. I opened the app, navigated to the referral dashboard. The interface showed a simple list. 1 referral, bonus pending, registered 3 hours ago. Email address, emily.chen.work@gmail.com. Not her regular email. Not the Emily.Westbrook a marketing dynamics.com address she used for work. Not even the Emily Westbrook 1985@gmail.com personal account I'd been monitoring. A third email address I didn't know existed. I clicked through to my account settings, found the referral link I'd supposedly shared. The app showed a history. Link copied to clipboard on March 15th at 11:23 p.m. March 15th, 2 weeks ago. The night Emily had come home from one of her client dinners and immediately gone to shower. I'd been asleep when she got in, or pretending to be. She'd used my phone while I slept. The realization settled like concrete in my chest. She'd needed the app to book hotels, had seen it on my phone. I'd left it charging on the nightstand, passcode she knew because we'd never had secrets. Past tense. She'd copied my referral link, created a new account under an email address I'd never seen, registered, and earned me $25 for the privilege. I pulled up my email on the laptop, created a new search parameter, emilychen.work@gmail.com. Nothing in my inbox. Nothing in sent items. But she'd created the account for a reason. I opened an incognito browser window, navigated to Gmail, tried to access password reset for the address. The system asked for a recovery phone number or alternate email. I entered her regular Gmail address. Security code sent to emmy85@gmail.com. Got it. I switched windows, checked her personal email account. I'd had the password since Sunday morning when I'd broken into her phone. The security code sat there, received 4 minutes ago. I entered it, created a new password, logged into emilychen.work@gmail.com. The inbox held 17 emails, all from the past 6 weeks. Booking confirmations, mostly. The Riverside Inn appeared 3 times, but there were others. The Sentinel Hotel in downtown Portland, February 28th, one night, $340. The Evergreen Lodge near Mount Hood, March 8th, weekend stay, $680. The Harborview in Cannon Beach, March 22nd, 2 nights, $890. I cross-referenced the dates against our joint credit card statement. None of these charges appeared there. She'd been paying for these herself, or rather, Dylan had been paying for them entirely. The pattern clarified. Early in the affair, they'd split costs. The Riverside Inn charges I'd found, Emily using our joint card for her half. But recently, she'd switched tactics. Created this separate email account, booked hotels under it, let Dylan cover the full expense. Smarter, cleaner. No paper trail leading back to our shared finances. Except she'd screwed up, used my referral link. Connected this secret account to my phone, my app, my digital footprint. I scrolled through the other emails. Confirmations from restaurants I'd never heard of. A receipt from Nordstrom for $340 in lingerie, purchased March 10th. Another from Sephora, $180 in cosmetics, same day. A calendar invitation for April 18th, this coming Saturday, at a place called the Westview Estate. I clicked through. Wedding venue. The email described a venue tour and tasting menu for prospective clients. They were looking at wedding venues. My vision tunneled. I stood up, walked to the office door, locked it. Came back to the desk. Sat down. Breathed. The calendar invitation included Dylan's email address, dkellernexustech.com. I opened a new browser tab, searched Dylan Keller Nexus Technologies. His LinkedIn profile appeared immediately. Senior Vice President of Product Development, Stanford MBA, previous positions at Google and Amazon. The profile photo showed him in a suit, professional smile, that same Rolex visible on his wrist. Relationship status. Single. I checked Facebook next. His profile was mostly private, but the public information showed single. Lives in Portland, Oregon. Studied at Stanford University. No mention of a wife. No mention of children. No indication he was destroying a 9-year marriage and breaking apart a family. Just single. Available. Ready to marry my wife after she divorced me. I went back to the secret email account, searched for messages from Dylan's address. Found 12 emails, dating back to February. The early ones were logistics. Meeting times, hotel confirmations, restaurant reservations, professional, almost businesslike. Then they shifted. March 5th, Dylan to Emily. Can't stop thinking about last night. You're incredible. This is what I've been missing my entire life. March 12th, Emily to Dylan. I know we said we'd take this slow, but I can't imagine going back. I can't imagine not being with you. March 18th, Dylan to Emily. I want to do this right. I want to marry you. I want to wake up next to you every morning, not just Tuesdays and Thursdays. March 20th, Emily to Dylan. I'm going to tell him soon. I just need to figure out the right way. Sophie deserves better than watching her parents pretend. I read that line 3 times. Sophie deserves better than watching her parents pretend. Our daughter, 7 years old, obsessed with her art projects and her collection of smooth river rocks, who still climbed into our bed during thunderstorms, who Emily tucked in every night with the same routine. 2 stories, one song, 3 kisses. Emily was going to blow up Sophie's world so she could marry a tech executive with a Rolex. The rage came then, white-hot and clarifying. I stood up again, paced the small office. 12 feet by 10 feet. 4 steps one direction, turn, 4 steps back. My phone buzzed. Text from Emily. Meeting running late again. We'll try to be home by 8. Love you. It was 10:15 a.m. She was already establishing her alibi for tonight. I checked the secret email calendar. Tonight, April 10th, no hotel booking. But there was a restaurant reservation confirmation. Kennard, downtown Portland, 7:30 p.m., party of 2. I pulled up Kennard's website. French-inspired wine bar, tasting menus starting at $95 per person. Reservations required weeks in advance. Dylan had planned this dinner 3 weeks ago, according to the confirmation email timestamp. I texted back, "No problem. I'll get Sophie dinner and handle bedtime. Work hard." The response came 30 seconds later. "You're the best. Don't know what I'd do without you." I screenshotted the message, added it to the folder on my laptop labeled Tax Documents 2024, the folder where I'd been storing everything. Screenshots, PDFs, call logs, photos, organized by date, cross-referenced, backed up to 3 separate cloud services she didn't know I'd created. The appointment with the divorce attorney was in 3 hours. I'd been planning to show him the hotel charges, the phone records, the photos from Emily's cloud. Now I had more. The secret email account, the wedding venue tour, the messages discussing marriage, the timeline showing premeditation. She'd been planning to leave me since at least mid-March, maybe earlier. I forwarded every email from the secret account to myself, downloaded them as PDFs, took screenshots of the calendar invitations, the booking confirmations, the romantic messages. Then I did something I'd been avoiding. I searched the email account for lawyer. One result. Email from March 25th. Sender. IntakeFamilyLawPDX.com. Dear Ms. Walker, thank you for your consultation inquiry. We'd be happy to schedule an initial meeting to discuss your situation. Our family law specialists handle divorce proceedings with discretion and efficiency. Based on your description, 9-year marriage, 1 minor child, joint assets under $500K, desire for primary custody, we estimate the following timeline. I stopped reading. Skipped to the bottom. Emily had replied the same day. Thank you. I'll be in touch once I've made my final decision. I appreciate your discretion. She'd been shopping for divorce attorneys 2 weeks ago, while I was still oblivious, while I was still kissing her goodbye in the mornings and asking about her day over dinner, while I was still believing the promotion story, the client meetings, the career advancement that required evening hours. She'd been planning her exit strategy. My phone buzzed again. Email notification from the hotel booking app. New booking confirmed. I opened it. Emily's secret account had just reserved a room at the Riverside Inn for tomorrow night, April 11th. Room 312, their regular room. $243.50, split payment. Charged to an account ending in 4389. I pulled up my records. Account ending in 4389 was our joint credit card. She was back to using our money. Maybe Dylan had balked at covering everything. Maybe she'd gotten careless. Maybe she just didn't care anymore because she was planning to leave anyway. I checked the time. 10:47 a.m. The attorney appointment was at 2 p.m. I had 3 hours. I opened a new document on my laptop, started typing. Evidence summary. Updated. April 10. Secret email account, emilychen.work@gmail.com. Created approximately 6 weeks ago. Used for hotel bookings, restaurant reservations, communication with Dylan Keller. Contains evidence of planned wedding venue tour, April 18th. Contains emails discussing marriage and divorce. Shows wife contacted, divorce attorney, March 25th. Financial evidence. Joint credit card charges, $7,192. Riverside Inn, 8 weeks. Additional hotels booked through secret account, 119-110. Paid by Dylan Keller. Personal purchases for affair, $520. Lingerie, cosmetics. New booking for tomorrow, $243.50. Joint credit card. Communication. Evidence. 47 phone calls to Dylan Keller. 12 emails between Emily and Dylan. Messages discussing marriage, divorce, custody of Sophie. I kept typing. Every detail, every date, every dollar amount. The attorney was going to have everything he needed, and Emily had no idea the trap had already closed. The attorney's office was on the 4th floor of a glass-fronted building in downtown Portland. I arrived 20 minutes early, carrying my laptop and a flash drive containing everything I'd compiled over the past 36 hours. The receptionist offered coffee. I declined. My hands were steady, but caffeine would tip that balance. Mr. Parker will see you now. James Parker looked younger than I'd expected from his website photo. Maybe 45, with salt and pepper hair and reading glasses perched on his head. His office smelled like leather and old books. He shook my hand with a firm grip. I reviewed the materials you sent over, he said, gesturing to a printed stack on his desk. Before we dive in, I want to set expectations. Washington County moves slowly with divorce proceedings. Even with evidence this comprehensive, you're looking at a minimum of 6 months before finalization. I understand. Good. He pulled the documents closer. Walk me through the timeline. Start from the beginning. I did. Tuesday night, 2:47 a.m. The credit card notification, the hotel charges, the phone records, the cloud photos, Dylan Keller's identity, the secret email account, the wedding venue tour scheduled for 8 days from now. Parker took notes on a yellow legal pad, his pen moving in quick, efficient strokes. And she has no idea you know? None. You've been sleeping in the same bed? Last night I stayed in the guest room. Told her I had a cold. Didn't want Sophie to catch it. He nodded, flipping through the bank statements. These charges to the joint account, you mentioned they total $7,992. That's just what she's put on our card. Dylan's covered additional expenses, hotels, restaurants, another $1,910 that I can confirm. And you have proof she contacted a divorce attorney? I pulled up the email on my laptop, turned it toward him. He read it twice, then sat back in his chair. March 25th, 2 weeks ago. He tapped his pen against the pad. She's planning to file first, wants to control the narrative. Can we beat her to it? We can file today if you want. I'd need a retainer, $3,500 to start. But let me ask you something first. He removed his glasses, met my eyes directly. What's your goal here? Full custody of Sophie? Maximum financial settlement? Or do you just want to make sure she doesn't screw you over? I want Sophie. Primary custody, minimum. That's realistic. Oregon favors shared custody, but given the evidence of infidelity and the fact that she's been using marital funds to finance an affair, we can argue she's prioritized her relationship with Keller over her responsibilities as a mother. The evening meetings that coincide with hotel bookings help our case. He pulled out a fresh legal pad, started sketching a strategy. Here's what I recommend. We file first today. Request temporary custody arrangements that give you primary physical custody pending the final decree. We'll also file for exclusive use of the marital home. You stay, she leaves. Given that she's already planning to marry Keller, she has somewhere to go. She doesn't know I know about that. Doesn't matter. We present the wedding venue tour email as evidence she's already planning her next marriage, shows intent to abandon the current one. He made another note. We'll also request full accounting of marital assets and debts. If she's been hiding money or running up charges you don't know about, we'll find it. What about the joint credit card? Can I cancel it? Not yet. Don't do anything that looks like retaliation or financial abuse. Keep everything status quo until she's served. After that, you can remove her as an authorized user, but keep the account open to show the court you're not trying to hide assets. He walked me through the filing process, the forms I'd need to sign, the timeline for service. Emily would be served at work, probably within 48 hours. A process server would hand her the papers in front of her colleagues. "How do you want to handle tonight?" Parker asked. "You mentioned she has dinner plans with Keller." "She texted me this morning, said she'd be home late. Meeting ran long, then pushed it to midnight." "Let her go. Don't confront her yet. The more rope she takes, the better our case." He checked his watch. "After we finish here, go home. Act normal. When she comes back tonight, be asleep. Or pretend to be. There's a hotel booking for tomorrow night. Room 312 again, charged to our card." "Perfect. Let her go to that too. We'll include it in the filing as evidence of ongoing infidelity and financial misconduct." He smiled, but it wasn't warm. "Every time she swipes that card, she's building our case." I signed the retainer agreement, transferred $3,500 from my personal checking account. Parker promised to file the paperwork before close of business today. I'd receive copies via email by 6 p.m. "One more thing," he said as I stood to leave. "Don't tell anyone about this. Not your parents, not your friends, not your coworkers, especially not Sophie. The first time Emily hears about this should be when she's served." "Understood. And if she asks why you're acting distant, blame work stress. Project deadline, difficult client, whatever fits. Keep it vague." I shook his hand again, left the office with my laptop and flash drive. The elevator ride down felt longer than it should have. Outside, the afternoon sun was bright and indifferent. People walked past on the sidewalk, carrying coffee cups and shopping bags, living normal lives where their spouses weren't planning secret weddings. My phone buzzed. Emily. "Meeting's going well. Might wrap up earlier than expected. Maybe home by 10? I stared at the message. She was lying in real time, adjusting her cover story to make it more believable. The dinner reservation at Kennard was for 7:30. She'd probably tell Dylan she needed to leave by 9:30, give herself time to drive home and compose her face into something that looked like exhausted professionalism instead of post-date glow. I typed back, "That's great. I'll probably be asleep, but leave the porch light on for you." 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. "Love you." 2 words. 8 letters. I'd heard them 1,000 times over 9 years. They used to mean something. I didn't respond. The drive back to Beaverton took 40 minutes. I stopped at a coffee shop near the house, ordered a black coffee I didn't want, sat in a corner booth with my laptop. Parker's email arrived at 3:47 p.m., scanned copies of the divorce petition, the custody motion, the financial disclosures. I read through every page twice, checking for errors or omissions. Everything was there. The hotel charges, the phone records, the secret email, the wedding venue tour. Dylan Keller's name appeared 17 times across the documents. I forwarded the email to my personal account, then to a cloud backup, then to a second cloud backup on a service Emily didn't know I used. Redundancy. In construction, you always built in redundancy for critical systems. At 4:30, I drove home. Sophie's school bus dropped her off at 4:45. I was waiting at the end of the driveway when it arrived, same as always. "Dad!" She jumped down the steps, backpack bouncing. "We learned about fractions today. I got all the problems right." "That's my girl." I took her backpack, walked her inside. "How about we make pancakes for dinner? Can we put chocolate chips in them?" "Absolutely." We spent the next hour in the kitchen, mixing batter and flipping pancakes while Sophie told me about her day. Her teacher had read them a book about a dog who learned to surf. There was a field trip coming up to the zoo. Her friend Madison had brought cupcakes for her birthday. Normal. Everything was normal in Sophie's world, and I needed to keep it that way for as long as possible. At 6:15, my phone buzzed. Parker's office number. Paperwork's filed, he said. Process server will attempt service tomorrow at her workplace. I've instructed him to go in the afternoon, around 2 p.m. Less chance of her being in a meeting. Okay. How are you holding up? Fine. Call me if anything changes. Otherwise, I'll be in touch after she's served. I hung up, returned to the kitchen where Sophie was drawing pictures at the table. She'd sketched our family, 3 stick figures holding hands in front of a house. Mom, Dad, Sophie. The house had a red door and yellow windows. That's beautiful, sweetheart, she beamed. Can we put it on the fridge? Of course. I stuck it up with a magnet, next to her school calendar and a shopping list in Emily's handwriting. The list said, milk, bread, coffee, strawberries. Ordinary things. Grocery store things. Things a person bought when they were planning to stick around. My phone showed 7:18 p.m. Emily was probably at Kennard right now, sitting across from Dylan, laughing at something he said. Maybe they were holding hands under the table. Maybe she was wearing the dress I'd seen in the cloud photos, the blue one that showed off her shoulders. I made Sophie take a bath, read her 2 chapters of the book on her nightstand, tucked her in at 8:30. Is Mom coming home tonight? She asked, hugging her stuffed rabbit. She'll be home late. Work stuff. She's always working late now. I know, baby, but you'll see her in the morning. Sophie nodded, already half asleep. I kissed her forehead, turned off the light, pulled the door mostly closed. In the hallway, I checked my phone again. Nothing from Emily. It was 8:47 p.m. I went to the guest room, lay down on top of the covers fully dressed, and waited for my wife to come home from her date. The next morning started like any other lie. I made Sophie pancakes shaped like stars, while Emily sat at the kitchen island scrolling through her phone. She'd showered already, hair still damp, smelling like the lavender shampoo we'd bought at Costco 3 weeks ago. She wore her gray blazer, the one with the subtle pinstripe that made her look professional. Senior account manager professional. Not planning to marry her lover professional. You're quiet this morning, she said without looking up. I flipped a pancake. Didn't sleep great. You should take melatonin. I've been telling you that for months. Months. Right. The same months she'd been spending $487 every Tuesday and Thursday at the Riverside Inn. Sophie bounced into the kitchen wearing mismatched socks. One with cats, one with dogs. Daddy, can we go to the zoo this weekend? We'll see, sweetheart. Emily finally glanced up. I might have to work Saturday. Big presentation Monday. Another lie. I'd checked her calendar last night while she slept. No presentation scheduled. But Dylan had posted on LinkedIn yesterday about flying to Seattle for a conference this weekend. Convenient. Sure, I said. Sophie and I can go without you. Emily's smile looked relieved. You're the best. I served Sophie her star pancakes and watched my wife of 9 years butter her toast. She'd put on lipstick, the expensive kind from Sephora, the one that cost $42. I remembered because I'd bought it for her birthday last year. Wondered if she wore it for Dylan too. My phone buzzed. Text from James Parker. Process server confirmed for 2 p.m. at her office. Everything's in motion. I deleted the message. What was that? Emily asked. Work. They need me on site early today. She nodded, already back to scrolling. Probably texting Dylan. Probably planning tonight's hotel visit, the one she'd booked for 7:30 p.m. room 312, same as always. I dropped Sophie at school at 8:15 a.m. She hugged me extra tight. Love you, Daddy. Love you too, Soph, more than anything. Emily had already left for work by the time I got home. I stood in our bedroom and looked at the bed we'd shared for 9 years. Egyptian cotton sheets, 800 thread count. She'd insisted on them 3 years ago, said they felt luxurious. I wondered if the sheets at the Riverside Inn felt luxurious too. My phone rang at 10:47 a.m. Unknown number. This is Trevor Walsh. Mr. Walsh, this is Linda Brennan from First Community Bank. I'm calling about some unusual activity on your joint checking account. My stomach tightened. What kind of activity? We show a withdrawal of $8,000 made this morning at 9:23 a.m. from our downtown branch. The teller noted it was a large cash withdrawal, so we're following up to verify it was authorized. I sat down on the edge of the bed. Who made the withdrawal? Your wife, Emily Walsh. She presented valid ID and had full account access. But given the amount, I didn't authorize it. Silence on the line. Then, I see. Mr. Walsh, are you saying this withdrawal was fraudulent? $8,000. Cash. 3 hours ago. Can you tell me what our current balance is? Keyboard clicking. After the withdrawal, you have $1,237.18 in checking. Your savings account shows $3,412. We'd had almost $12,000 in checking yesterday. I checked it last night during my documentation session. Mr. Walsh? I need to think about this. Thank you for calling. I hung up and opened our banking app. She'd withdrawn the money from the branch 3 blocks from her office. 9:23 a.m., less than an hour after she'd left our house. Less than an hour after she'd kissed Sophie goodbye and told me I was the best. I called James Parker. She just withdrew $8,000 in cash from our joint account, I said. When? This morning, 9:23 a.m. He swore softly. She knows. How? Someone tipped her off. Another attorney, maybe, or she saw something. Either way, she's liquidating assets. Classic divorce prep move. Grab cash before accounts get frozen. Did she take it all? Left about $1,200 in checking, $3,000 in savings. Smart. Doesn't look like she cleaned you out completely. Makes it harder to claim she was hiding assets. He paused. This actually helps us. Shows financial misconduct. I can file an emergency motion to freeze all remaining accounts. But Trevor, if she knows about the divorce filing, she might not show up at work for the serving. I thought about Emily this morning. Calm, collected, buttering her toast. She'll be there, I said. She doesn't know I know. She thinks she's being careful. You sure? She booked another hotel room for tonight. Same place, same time. She wouldn't do that if she knew I was filing. Then who tipped her about the money? I pulled up her call log on my laptop, the one I'd been monitoring through our shared phone plan. 3 calls this morning before the bank withdrawal. One to Dylan at 8:47 a.m., lasted 4 minutes. One to an unknown number at 9:02 a.m., lasted 11 minutes. One to Dylan again at 9:35 a.m., lasted 2 minutes. She called someone at 9:02, I said. 11-minute call, then withdrew the money at 9:23. Get me that number, I read it off. James said he'd run it through his investigator. After we hung up, I sat in my home office and stared at the framed photo on my desk. Emily, Sophie, and me at Cannon Beach last summer. Sophie building a sandcastle. Emily laughing, wind in her hair. Me with my arm around both of them. That photo was taken 4 months before the affair started. Or maybe it had already started by then. Maybe Dylan had already existed in her life, a secret she carried while she smiled for the camera. My phone buzzed. Email from the hotel booking app. Congratulations, you've earned another referral bonus. Your referral, emilychen.workagemail.com, has completed their 5th booking. 5th booking. I opened the app and checked her account activity. She'd made a new reservation this morning at 9:41 a.m. Not the Riverside Inn this time. The Ashford Hotel, downtown Portland, penthouse suite. Check-in, April 18th, check-out April 19th. April 18th. The same date as the wedding venue tour I'd found in her emails. The room cost $890 for one night. She'd paid with a credit card I didn't recognize. Last 4 digits, 7834. I searched our joint accounts. No card ending in 7834. She had a secret credit card. I called James Parker back. She has financial accounts I don't know about, I said. Secret credit card. Just used it to book a hotel penthouse for April 18th. The venue tour date. Yeah. This gets better and better. For us, I mean. Worse for her. He sounded almost cheerful. Hidden assets, secret accounts, affair evidence, financial misconduct. Trevor, your wife is building our case for us. By the time we're done, she won't have anything left. Good. You sound different. I'm done being the victim. Good. That's the mindset you need. Process server hits her office in 3 hours. Stay calm, document everything, and let me know if anything changes. I spent the next 2 hours building a new spreadsheet. This one tracked every financial transaction I could find. Joint accounts, credit cards, her spending patterns. I noted the $8,000 withdrawal, highlighted in red. Added the secret credit card number. Cross-referenced dates and amounts. At 1:47 p.m., I drove to Emily's office building. I parked across the street where I had a clear view of the entrance. The building was modern glass and steel, 12 stories, her marketing firm on the 8th floor. I'd been here before for company events, holiday parties, summer barbecues, met her co-workers, shook hands with her boss, played the supportive husband. At 1:58 p.m., a woman in a dark pantsuit entered the building carrying a manila envelope. The process server. I watched her check in at the security desk, get a visitor badge, head toward the elevators. My phone showed 2:03 p.m. when my heart started hammering. 2:07 p.m., 2:11 p.m. At 2:14 p.m., the process server exited the building. She walked to a gray Honda in the parking garage, got in, and drove away. It was done. Emily had been served. I waited. Watched the building entrance. Wondered if she'd come running out, phone in hand, calling her lawyer, calling Dylan, calling me. Nothing happened. At 2:43 p.m., my phone rang. Emily. I let it ring 3 times before answering. Hey. Her voice sounded normal, controlled. Hi. Can you pick up Sophie today? I have a late meeting. No mention of divorce papers, no panic, no anger. Sure, I said. What time will you be home? Not sure, don't wait up. The hotel reservation was for 7:30 p.m. Okay, I said. Love you. The words tasted like poison. Love you too. She hung up. I sat in my car across from her office building and realized my wife was a better liar than I'd ever imagined. I picked up Sophie at 4:45 p.m. like nothing had changed. We stopped for ice cream, her favorite mint chocolate chip, and I listened to her talk about the art project she was working on at school. A painting of our family in front of the house. She wanted to add our neighbor's cat to the picture, even though the cat wasn't technically ours. Can we keep pretending he's ours, though? She asked, green ice cream on her chin. Yeah, sweetheart, we can pretend. My phone stayed silent. No call from Emily. No frantic texts. She was proceeding with her evening as planned, divorce papers apparently filed away in her desk drawer, crisis to be dealt with later. After her hotel visit. After her night with Dylan. The audacity was almost impressive. At 7:15 p.m., I put Sophie to bed early with a promise of extra stories. By 7:45, she was asleep, clutching her stuffed rabbit. I stood in her doorway for a long time, watching her breathe, wondering how to explain that her mother had chosen a man with a Rolex over the family we'd built. My phone buzzed at 8:02 p.m. James Parker. The investigator ran that number. It's a divorce attorney named Patricia Simmons. She specializes in high-asset divorces, and she's known for aggressive tactics. Your wife called her this morning, then withdrew the cash. But she still went to work, still got served. She's playing it cool, probably thinks she can control the situation. The cash withdrawal gives her an emergency fund we can't touch. She's smarter than we gave her credit for. Not smart enough, I said. She's at the hotel right now. You're sure? I pulled up the booking confirmation on my laptop. Checked in at 7:30, room 312. Keep documenting everything. This goes to court in 6 weeks for the temporary custody hearing. I want every hotel visit, every dollar spent, every lie documented. After we hung up, I sat in my home office and updated my spreadsheet. The numbers had grown. $8,000 in cash withdrawn, $9,200 in hotel charges, 49 phone calls to Dylan Keller, 1 secret credit card, 1 secret email account, 1 wedding venue tour scheduled for Saturday. The architecture of betrayal, quantified and organized. My phone lit up at 11:34 p.m. Emily. Heading home now. Meeting ran super late. So exhausted. I didn't respond. She came home at 12:07 a.m. I heard her car in the driveway, her key in the lock, her footsteps on the stairs. She moved quietly, trying not to wake anyone. The bathroom door closed, the shower ran, washing off the evidence. I lay in the guest room with my eyes closed, breathing slowly, pretending to sleep. She opened the door, stood there for a moment. I could feel her watching me, then closed it softly and went to our bedroom. The bed creaked as she got in. Alone now. Dylan back at his Pearl District loft. Emily in the bed we'd bought together at a Labor Day sale 7 years ago. I wondered if she felt anything. Guilt, regret, fear about the divorce papers sitting in her work bag. Probably not. She'd withdrawn $8,000 in cash and gone to a hotel. She was already building her exit strategy, already preparing for the life she wanted with Dylan. But she'd made one critical mistake. She'd underestimated me. The next 6 weeks moved like a slow-motion avalanche. Emily hired Patricia Simmons, who filed a counter-petition claiming irreconcilable differences and requesting joint custody of Sophie. They painted me as an absent workaholic father, Emily as the primary caregiver who'd sacrificed her career advancement to raise our daughter. James Parker buried them in evidence. Every hotel receipt, every phone call, every email discussing marriage to Dylan while still married to me. The secret credit card statement, subpoenaed through discovery, showing $4,300 in charges at jewelry stores, high-end restaurants, and a weekend trip to wine country I'd known nothing about. Patricia Simmons tried to argue that Oregon's no-fault divorce laws made the affair irrelevant. James countered that financial misconduct and parental neglect were absolutely relevant to custody and asset division. The temporary custody hearing happened on a Thursday in late May. Emily wore a navy dress and pearl earrings, looking every inch the devoted mother. She testified about bedtime routines and parent-teacher conferences, her voice steady and sincere. Then James put me on the stand and walked through the timeline. The Tuesday and Thursday hotel visits that coincided with Sophie's after-school activities, the ones Emily had missed because she was 40 minutes away with Dylan. The school events I'd attended alone because Emily had work commitments. The $8,000 withdrawn from our daughter's college fund to finance the affair. That last part wasn't technically true. The money had come from our joint checking, but the college fund had been depleted by $3,000 in February, and Emily couldn't explain where that money had gone. Patricia Simmons objected repeatedly. The judge overruled her every time. When Dylan Keller's name came up, when James showed the wedding venue tour email to the court, Emily's composure finally cracked. Just for a moment, a flash of panic in her eyes, quickly suppressed. But the judge saw it. The temporary order came down a week later. Primary physical custody to me, pending the final decree. Emily got supervised visitation every other weekend. The marital home remained mine. Emily was ordered to move out within 30 days and prohibited from depleting any remaining joint assets. She appealed. Patricia Simmons filed a motion claiming judicial bias. It was denied. By July, Emily had moved into Dylan's Pearl District loft. The wedding venue tour never happened. At least not at the Westview estate. Maybe they postponed it. Maybe the reality of supervised visitation and looming financial consequences made marriage less appealing. I didn't ask. Didn't care. The final divorce decree was issued in October, 6 months after I'd received that first credit card notification at 2:47 a.m. I got primary custody of Sophie, the house, my retirement accounts, and half of Emily's 401k. Emily got her car, her personal belongings, and a court order to pay child support of $840 per month. No alimony. The judge cited her affair and financial misconduct as grounds for denial. Patricia Simmons filed one last appeal. It was rejected in November. Sophie adjusted better than I'd feared. She missed her mother, asked questions I struggled to answer without lying or poisoning the well. I kept it simple. Sometimes adults grow apart. It's not your fault. We both love you. Emily showed up for her visitation weekends, usually on time, usually sober. Dylan never appeared during the handoffs. I suspected Emily had enough sense to keep him away from the daughter whose college fund she'd raided to finance their relationship. Or maybe they'd broken up. I didn't know, didn't ask. On a Tuesday evening in December, almost 9 months after everything started, I sat in my office updating the household budget. Sophie was at the kitchen table doing homework, humming to herself. The house was warm, quiet. Hours. My phone pinged. Credit card notification. I'd never turned them off. $43.18 at the grocery store. My charge. Milk, bread, coffee, strawberries, ordinary things. I thought about Emily's list on the refrigerator, the one from back in April. The same items, almost. The things a person bought when they were pretending everything was normal. But nothing had been normal. I just hadn't known it yet. The notification that changed everything had come at 2:47 a.m. on a random Tuesday, and I'd almost ignored it. Almost rolled over, gone back to sleep, let the charge slide past without investigation. One notification, one moment of instinct. That's all it took to save myself from years of lies. I learned something during those months of spreadsheets and evidence gathering, of attorney meetings and court hearings. I learned that betrayal isn't the worst thing a person can do to you. The worst thing is making you complicit in your own deception, making you pay for the knife while they sharpen it. Emily had done that. Used our money, our shared accounts, our joint life to finance her exit strategy. She'd made me an accomplice to my own destruction, and she'd done it with such casual confidence that she'd forgotten to cover her tracks. The referral bonus, the credit card notifications, the shared phone plan, all the little conveniences of modern marriage, the digital intimacy we'd built over 9 years, she'd wielded them like weapons, never imagining they'd cut both ways. People ask me sometimes if I regret how it ended. If I wish I'd confronted her that first morning, given her a chance to explain or apologize or choose differently. I don't. Because the woman who could split hotel costs with her lover using our grocery money, who could call a divorce attorney and then kiss our daughter goodnight, who could plan a wedding while still wearing my ring, that woman was never going to choose differently. She'd already made her choice. I just made sure she paid for it. Sophie calls from the kitchen. Dad, I need help with my math. Coming, sweetheart. I close the laptop, leave the office, walk into the warm light of the kitchen where my daughter sits surrounded by worksheets and pencils. She looks up at me with complete trust, complete certainty that I'll help her solve whatever problem she's facing. And I will. Because that's what you do when you love someone. You show up. You stay honest. You don't make them pay for your betrayals. The notification that changed everything came at 2:47 a.m. on a Tuesday morning. But the real change, the one that mattered, happened when I decided to pay attention. When I chose to see what was actually there instead of what I wanted to believe. Some people call that paranoia. I call it survival. And in the end, I survived. Sophie survived. We built something new from the rubble of what Emily destroyed. The house is quiet tonight except for Sophie's pencil scratching against paper and the hum of the refrigerator. Ordinary sounds. Safe sounds. I help my daughter with her fractions, and I don't think about hotel rooms or secret email accounts or the woman who used to sleep beside me. I just think about this. The truth will always cost less than a lie, even if you have to pay $487 to learn it.